G'day guys, welcome to game 3 of our Mech TvP matchup that we're going to be having a quick sort of analysis look at. Not really a high level analysis, but an analysis nonetheless. We have our featured player GoOdy. He's down here at the 8 o'clock position on Delta Quadrant, and his opponent on this game is going to be Thebis. I'm not actually sure who Thebis is, but either way, he's playing against GoOdy, and he will be across at the 5 o'clock position. So, positionings on this map sort of favour... It's sort of dependent. It's dependent on how GoOdy is going to move up and actually attack the Protoss. If he's going to do the sort of 3-tank Marine harass at the start, like he did in the past 2 games, it could be quite a good map for him, but we'll have to see what happens. So, in the last game, as we saw, a little bit different to Game 1. Game 1, we saw how the variations of the Protoss units can actually just come in and crush a tank Hellion force. And in Game 2, we saw much more of a brute force attack, where it was just a lot of Immortals. I think at one point we had a total of 8 Immortals in a one battle. And a whole heap of Stalkers with blinks. So using the mobility of the Stalkers and using the hardened shields of the Immortals, you actually can just roll straight over the tanks, which is obviously the key part of the mech build from the Terran. So we've got GoOdy opening up with his standard sort of build here, just grabbing the rack, skirting the early refinery so he can make sure he's got some gas ready to get the tech going for the mech build. And we've got Thebis is just getting out his gateway, which is about to be done. He's got quite a quick assimilator there. It's not even started on his cyber, so we might be seeing some very early tech here from Thebis, but we'll see what happens. We've got the reactor done for GoOdy. He's got the one Reaper on the way, so this is going to be a little bit different in this regard. He's going to be using a Reaper to do his harass at the start, as opposed to last game where he used, well, in the first 2 games even, where he used some tanks and some Marines to actually provide some pressure on a very early opening from the Protoss player. So key things to take out of the last game as well, which I forgot to touch on, was apart from the fact that the Immortals were very powerful in cleaning up all of the tanks, is that Scott was actually able to macro up very hard, which is one of the key things about the mech build, which has sort of moved over from Brood War, in that if you're a Terran and you're totaling up, trying to get your tanks, trying to get your upgrades, that sort of thing, if you let it all go, your Protoss opponent might just, macro up and have a bajillion units waiting for you at the front door. So we saw that particular maneuver there. I'm not really sure what these probes are doing. And we saw Scott actually just power out a whole heap of... he powered out a whole heap of Immortals because he was on 5 bases, I think it was. So what we're going to see here this time, hopefully... GoOdy will be able to control a lot more of the macro game in that regard, and we've indeed got that going here. We've got one Marauder and a Reaper out providing some harass. The probes come across to try and stop it. The Stalker as well is on the way, but as we know, the Marauder might have a quick shot at the Stalker. The Marauder gets surrounded by these probes. We're going to lose a couple more probes from the Reaper, but the Reaper's not sure what he's doing. He's just hanging out down here. But we've got another Marauder here in the probe line. We've lost a whole lot of units for our Protoss player. He's lost 8 units in total. I believe they were all probes. So this Marauder's being microed around, doing a great job on the probes, but eventually he gets taken out. There are 2 Stalkers. This one Marauder coming in, not sure what this guy thinks he's going to do against 2 Stalkers, but either way, he had a shot at it. Now, we've got a second refinery. This is a little bit later for this build. Normally, you'd really want to get that second refinery really quickly so you can actually stay on top of your gas count, given that, as we have mentioned over and over, there are going to be a lot of gas-based units that are needed for a mech build. So we've got some Stalkers moving out just to check out what is happening on the map. And the warp gate tech is done for our Protoss player. We've got a bunker going up for GoOdy. He's just a bit aware that he might be a little bit vulnerable at the moment. and he's going to need it because we've got these stalkers coming up here. We've got a total of 4 stalkers moving up the ramp here. Stalkers taking shots at the reactor, the tech lab, sorry. They are not going to be able to get it because there is the one marauder inside the bunker with their increased range that they get. We got factory and the starport going up here from GoOdy, so he's just going to be able to counter whatever comes out of the Protoss side. We are going to see a void ray, so this is going to be interesting to see how GoOdy actually deals with the void ray in this regard, because we had a lot of void rays in game 1. We had void rays with speed even, and GoOdy just had a lot of trouble controlling them. He did have a lot of he did get a lot of turrets up. In fact, he got a lot of turrets around the map, in fact, so he kept on top of that. But in terms of mobility, he had only 1 Thor, I think it was at one point, and a few Marines, and that was it. So we'll have to see how he deals with this void ray. It has popped out now, and it is on the way across. The chandelier is flying through space, and it is going to be using the cover of these stalkers to just put some damage down on the Terran base. He's going to charge up on the destructible debris here. Another great tactic that we have seen, especially in the GSL, to charge up on this sort of destructible debris. Even your own units, sometimes we see that. And he's going to come in here, he's going to get the shot off on the tech lab. It does go down. The tech lab is probably going to die. There are only a few Marines here. I'm not really sure if they're even prepared to take out this void ray, given how many stalkers down here on the ground covering it. The void ray has got the barracks down to half health. The void ray might actually die though if he's not careful. Void ray having to move back now, and the stalkers are probably going to try and finish off this Rax, but I don't think they're going to get it. SCV standing here. This one dude's earning his money here, repairing that barracks. But we've got a command center over here, and we also do have a backdoor sort of bridge pylon, I suppose you could say, which is going to let the Protoss warp the units across here into the back base here. But we've got a second void ray, and the 2 void rays are cleaning up all of these Marines. This is, as we said before, a little bit of susceptibility in this build is that you are going to have a lot of trouble with air unless you are completely prepared for it, not to mention if you have the gas for it later on in the mid and late game for the Thors. So he has handled it for the moment. He did have a turret up here, which was nice to see, and some Marines just covering the side as well. And we're yet to see Thebis actually move in here and warp some units in, but we'll probably see it shortly when he, I would say he's probably going to try and use that to cover his expansion, but we'll see what happens. He's getting a 4th gate on the way. He's got 3 warp gates just at the moment, the 3rd one just warping in now. And we've got GoOdy still sitting here on his 1 factory, 1 starport, and 1 Rax at the moment. But I would suspect we're going to see him move out of that shortly, given that he has a whole heap of money at the moment. He's up there at 700 minerals. A bit surprising to see that, but we'll see what happens here. We've got a tank and some Marine Marauder down here taking out the destructible debris. The command center is going to move down now and take this. This is really what GoOdy needs, is he needs to get these 2 refineries up and running because of the gas component of this build, which I would suspect we're going to see explode shortly. Yeah, we've got a 3rd SCV waiting here to build another factory. Nope, he's gone home. He doesn't care. So we're going to have 2 factories here for the moment, just getting out some units. And now this is a very, this is the interesting part about here is how do you actually deal with these expansions from the Protoss, especially if he's going to expand to somewhere remote like this. But is in that you need a lot of your units to actually defend back home. You need some of the Marines, of course. If there's more void rays, you need some siege tanks to deal with immortals. Sorry, not immortals, stalkers. And in this case, we actually have some Phoenix flying around, which is a bit interesting to see. I'm not sure what they're supposed to do. But one of the Phoenix goes down. The other is going to get the hell out of there. But we will probably see a factory explosion shortly. Here we go. Yeah, we've got 4 here now. And we'll probably see the tech labs on all of those. And you would think that we're going to see the factories kicked into overdrive and probably pumping out a whole lot of tanks and maybe a few Thors just to keep the skies clear. And we've got the probe transfer going down from Thebis. He's moving across. Interesting to see that we've got a blue flame getting upgraded here, And also high sec auto tracking. It is not every day you actually see that. That for those of you who play Terran who never get this, which I would suspect would be most of you,